background. So I wanted to hear from you guys, so we can see how this new university funding model is going to operate. Do you think it is efficient, or do you think it has some discrepancies where some students are not being allocated funds because they don't know? For those guys who have been in university until 2022, you know that when you get a direct entry grade from high school, automatically you are receiving funds from I mean sponsorship from the government. It doesn't matter your background, it doesn't matter where you're coming from, but as long as you reach that threshold, the pass mark, you get that pass grade, you go to university, you are of course sponsored by the government. But for now, whether you get even if you get that cutoff threshold, but you're not applying for that sponsorship or that scholarship, of course you'll be forced to pay 100% fees. You'll find out that courses like engineering, medicine, they are paying even to as much as 250,000 per semester. So guys, because I'm in a noisy place, I want to hear from you. And if you really have an idea of what is happening, you can request the microphone. So back to you, Misiko, and I feel like I should give you the co-host. Hope you are okay with that.
You can hear me, Coyote?
Yeah, sure, I can hear you, bro.
Great, great. It's a good evening, and the agenda is so clear and very, very well understood. It's been on the news. It's something that has been going on since the other day. And guys, it's very disappointing that all along we have been crying for equal and affordable education to every Kenyan child, no matter the class, no matter the race, no matter the tribe, no matter anything else. But at this particular time, we have been told that now it's being classified. It's very disappointing, and I fail to understand how are we going to classify Kenyans. These are all the same people of this country. They are all they need equal distribution of the resources, and all I've been crying is for the can we have the affordable university education for all Kenyan child who qualifies or merits to get the education. But now, you see, the president, the so-called Mr. Ruto, say that the program that he has put it, that we're going to classify these students to different places, is being classified by the level of income by the family. One, how is it even calculated? How do you tell that this person is generating this level of income to this amount? Guys, it's a very disappointing moment. And so far, many students, even from our area, are crying, having been left out. And even the level that they've been given, it's not even for their standard. So they cannot afford this education, but the standards that they have set. So I really disagree with this funding model. I really feel like it's not the right way to go. I really feel that it's going to deny many Kenyans opportunity, and it only gives the opportunity to those people who have potential. So what I could feel is we need an equal, fair distribution of resources. This means that we need free or affordable university for merit students. Thank you so much. Thank you, Kyoti, for seeing this space. Let's share our views and let's see what we can do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Misiko. So, Esther, I can see you are unmuting your mic. Do you have something to say? After that, kindly let's welcome the tribe of Wakanda.
Asante sana Kioti. Wacha the tribe waendelee, and then we will have the next speaker. The tribe.
The tribe, sijui kama unasikia Esther. I can see your hand is up and we really want to hear from you. The tribe, sijui kama unasikia Esther. I can see your hand is up and we really want to hear from you.
Niaje Keoti Sonko and Esther and everyone else. Ninawapata clear. I hope I can be heard also. Maybe you can confirm that.
Yes, tribe tunakusikia.
Because it doesn't really make sense to determine how those different, the 5 of the categories ambazo zitakuwa zinatumika, because from what I read yet wanataka kutumia vitu kama returns, poverty index, family economic status and the
So Esther, as I try to find a place where there's no noise, kindly just take over. Then in the next 5 to 10 minutes, I'll find somewhere very safe and a quiet place. Kindly.
Okay, asante sana Kioti once again. One thing I have felt bitter is these things of university fee. At some point, the fee has shoot high, and this is so bad for maybe the poor community that we are in Kenya, because some of our guardians do not have even the fee to send us to even high school. They have been struggling to take us to high school, and then here we are, we have scored good grades, and maybe we do not have a chance to go to university. So I would welcome Kenyans to go ahead and just give his submission. Kenyans, go ahead. Kenyans, can you hear me? Kenyans?
Yeah, nakusikia.
And
Actually, yeah, nilikuwa pia mi naomba like 5 minutes hivi nifike place iko quiet at least niongee.
okay, naelewa watu wengi leo wamekuwa game, and I'm sure a lot of us love game, so we really understand. So let's keep requesting mics. I feel ladies are not fan of games, so I need ladies to request mics because I'm sure you're on a safer environment. So let's have Grace. If you're present, go ahead and speak to us. Grace, are you present? Grace?
Yeah, I'm present and thank you. Okay, in fact, what has made me to be interested in this conversation is the fact that I want to let Kenyans know that I think our treasury is the biggest problem, because I saw in the newspaper. That was last week. I can't remember the exact day, but according to what I saw, so many students had not registered for the funding. And also, it was because of lack of IDs, partly. And the Ministry of Education wanted 34.1 billion to fund the new education system model, but the government had only released 4 billion by then. So it meant that there was a deficit of around 20 something billion, if I am right about it. So it means that the government has failed to release that money up to now, because that money is still not there. I think that that was gazetted on Thursday or on Wednesday. So secondly, I feel that this government is trying to introduce a lot of new things at once, which can't work. For example, if you enter in a marriage, you cannot expect you change your spouse within a night, because that is not possible. Everything needs time. And I think with what is happening, the system of education is dying, and the education sector is also dying. Because if we lack money to sustain education to an extent, we want to force parents to pay a lot of school fees to sustain students, then it becomes a disaster. Then secondly, if you fail to give students ID to register for the funding, I mean, it's a total mess. So I think the government is not doing enough, and the Treasury also should be questioned. And I don't know why Kenyans are really avoiding to question the Treasury, because they are the ones to ensure those monies reach the sectors that they are required to reach. So I think that is the main big issue, and I don't really support the new system of funding. It's a system that is likely to fail. Thank you.
Asante sana, Grace. You can also share what you're saying. It was gazetted on the chat box for references. That would be helpful to us. And if you still have something to submit, still hold on, and you will be welcomed once again. Kenyans, are you back? Or let's have KOT. There's a KOT. Are you present, KOT? KOT, are you present? Our co-host, our host is KOT, but I think we have another KOT here. KOT, are you present?
Yeah,
All
sure, I'm
right.
present, but I'm still in a noisy place. So in just a few minutes,
No. There's another KOT who is a speaker here. Hey, I'm calling the one who is a speaker here. There's a there's a KOT here who is a speaker. Anyway, it seems hata yeye ako kwa games. Mi nataka ladies because hao wenye wametoka games wengine wako na makasiriko ya the blues, what has happened. But we win, we lose, and we still love our blues. That is Chelsea. Voice, are you present? Voice, are you present? Let's keep requesting mics. I would urge ladies to be bold enough and request for mics because we really want to hear from Girl Toto aspect on what is happening. So, Alionia, are you present? And maybe if you are even a student, you can tell us maybe you are a student of which university. That will be helpful. It's wonderful to know that you're in a certain university or even doing a certain course. That would be helpful. Alionia, go ahead. Hi guys, mnanisikia? Mnanisikia?
Tunakupata.
Okay, so my names are Alionya, as KOT had said. First, we must give KOT his flowers for whatever he's doing in terms of civic education, especially huku Twitter. These spaces do not go in vain. Unapatanga mtu ametoka hapa amelearn one or two things. We appreciate you so much. Please pick your flowers when you're still alive. Now, first, me, I must thank God that I really graduated before Ruto became president, because I don't know how I would have managed to even do the degree that I did with this funding model. Probably the government has not communicated enough. Labda the people in charge of telling the public of how the model should work hawajafanya kazi yao, or there is actually nothing good about the model that the communications team can actually tell Kenyans. Me, I want us to think about these three things. Like, okay, we have education, tuko na infrastructure, things like roads, etc, tuko na health sector, the hospitals, dispensaries. Let us just ask ourselves, does the government think of grouping Kenyans when they are constructing a hospital somewhere? No, they cannot say that we will not construct a hospital in Nairobi because people in Nairobi are rich. Let us go and construct the hospital in Kitale because people in Kitale are poor. The same to roads. The government cannot say that we will not construct a road here because these people are rich. We need to construct this road to people who are poor. The same is to education, and in fact education is a very key component. Sisi wote tulienda maandamano, tuliweza kusema yale mambo yote tulisema against the finance bill because we were taught how to interpret things. Some of us are lawyers, some of us are teachers, some of us are engineers. Na hiyo masomo ndio imetufanya tukakuwa na hiyo political and leadership awareness or wokeness, ikafanya we are now putting governments into question. So we should not accept, and this is my call to all the student leaders of all universities. If we are being intentional, unless kama kuna students wako hapa, watuambie kama model ina work. If it is not working, then it is up to the student leaders of universities to come out and actually protest, ikwe magnanimous protest, ile yenye university should not even continue until the older funding model irudishwe, ama they make the barriers to this new funding model zitolewe. Because for me, when I qualified to go to university, my fee structure, I think the highest amount I paid was in first year, ilikuwa 24,000 per semester. Hizo semester zingine unapata unalipa 18,000, 16,000, and by that time I had applied for Helb. Helb bado inakupatia that 20 or 25,000 per semester. Unapata you have something to pay for fee, alafu probably wazazi wata take care of your basics kama chakula, rent, etc. So I don't see, like, hata mkijaribu kuchanganua aje, I don't see the resemblance between how I was funded to get my education and how a common mwananchi like me mwenye ametoka huko ndani. Sisi tumetoka mali, yani hata watu wangeweza kulipa fee, but Helb ilitusaidia tukamanage kulipa fee, na pia the fee structure was very accommodative of even a parent mwenye anafanya hiyo kazi ya mama mboga. Kuna wale wazazi walikuwa wanakata hata kuapply for the help because the fee structure was cheaper. They could restrain themselves to ensure that they pay for their students. So me, I'm calling out to all student leaders to come out. Hata tukapiga kelele huku nje, mimi nimesha graduate, haitakuwa enough. It is the student leaders who need to come out and we will support them, whether on social media or kwa ground, kuenda hiyo maandamano na create the civic education telling the government why the model cannot work. So I'm calling out all student leaders, kwanza wa UON, KU, the big universities, to act as a forefront to the other universities. Juu venye kunaenda watu wamenyamaza because wako huko chini hawana ID venye mnasema, and of course the process pia inawadelay
could get all the things that they are supposed to get according to the government. So if the student leaders do not come out to speak, hata tupige kelele kiasi gani, the government will still continue cheating on them. And as I have said, venye tu hatuwezi bagua watu tukijenga barabara, tukijenga hospitali, it is the same way. Nobody should be given education because they are poor, while another one is denied the same because they are rich. Let everyone. Education is the greatest equalizer. Let everyone have that ability to attend classes. What they do with the information they get at universities after universities doesn't matter. But kila mtu apewe opportunity asome kenye anafaa kusomea, provided amequalify. Thank you.
Wow, Alionya. First of all, I would love all of us to congratulate Alionya for making it. I think you're the one who has been mentioned as first class honors. It's not easy, man. In Kenya, hizo kubukuam, si rahisi. I hope I'm right, Alionya, right? Because I'm about to request our team to just congratulate you by giving you love emojis, 100 emojis. Let's do it here. Let's do it. We can do it for Alionya and just tell her congratulations. I'm expecting emojis, love emojis, 100 emojis. I cannot see any for Alionya. I cannot see any. My team. Nice. Let's keep. Yeah, nice. Nice, I love it. Nice. Thank you, Alionya. Our team has just congratulated you. That's very brave of us ladies, and we love you. All right, let me just read a comment here that I've seen from the tribe of Wakanda is saying the government is not serious with education in the country. The economic status of most families in the country are just able to support higher learning education. Anyway, he says we reject this system. So let's keep commenting also in case maybe you're in a noisy place so that we can also know we are together in this. And then let's keep requesting mics. I've said I need a lot of ladies requesting mics. And also those who are from game, I need you also to be present here. Kusini, are you present? Kusini? Misiko, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you very well.
Guys, personally, I feel like most of us here don't really know what is happening in the new university funding model. And I can see Toet is here. Toet is a university student from TUM. Personally, I would want to hear from him because he has already
Okay.
benefited from the previous funding model. So, Toet, I don't know if you know what is really happening with the new university funding model.
Okay, Marvin, okay, KOT Sonko, I can see people are really struggling here to have their connection. When I look at several listeners here, I can see connecting. What does it mean? Does it mean that I have an issue on my side with the internet, or the same people on this space have an issue with internet? Let me know if you can hear me so that I can contribute to the topic today, university new funding model.
Yeah, Toet, personally, I can hear you clearly. So just continue, and I hope everybody is hearing you.
Okay, thank you so much, my brother and my friend. I've been in school with you for a while, and I consider you as a brother as well because you have been on this space for a while, and we have been championing for equality, good governance, and all that. I am speaking from a perspective of being an elder brother of a sister who is yet to join the university in the with the new funding model. Unlike me, who I joined when I was joining the university, I joined to pursue a bachelor's degree in engineering course at the Technical University of Mombasa. And when I was joining, I was only paying a school fee of around 27,000 Kenya shillings. That was back in a few years ago. I'm almost clearing right now. And I had a sister who did a KCSE last year, did well, performed well, and supposed to join the university this September. Um, According to if I can give you my expectations according to what I expected from the higher education loans board, because these Form 4 students, or rather campus joining students, are required to apply for the higher education loans, to apply for scholarships from the higher education fund through the Helb portal. Now, a few days ago, they received calling letters. And if I can point out on a specific university, I have a sister who was supposed to join the Kenyatta University to pursue a bachelor's degree in engineering. And she actually received a letter on, I think last week, it was on a Thursday, that she has been grouped in band 5. What do I mean by band 5? Band 5 is the highest, the among the students who are going to receive a scholarship. Those are the students who are going to pay the highest fee. And if I could check on the fee that she was expected to pay before next week on a Monday, she is expected to pay 100,000 before reporting next week on Monday. Now, this is bringing us now to our conversation. What is all this about the new funding model that is really crippling the higher education and equal access, or I can say fair access to higher education for students who have cleared Form 4? All I can say is that the government itself, led by the president, has been advocating to eradicate maybe or reduce the number of students who are joining the university by introducing a new funding model, which is unfavorable, unfair for both parents in the middle class and poor families. Now, it is upon us as students and as young people to really find a way of rejecting the whole new funding model. Why? Because it is very unfair. I saw the other day lecturers are no longer receiving messages, or are being told or receiving messages about salary deductions, or rather they are being paid 65% of their salaries. Why? Because the government right now is not even sending the capitation to finance education in the universities. So what I can say, because I was just giving an idea of what is happening with the new funding model, unlike what we were used to before, is that we need to start these plans on how we can get back, we can air out our grievances and make sure that we stop this new funding model, because in the next few years, most of us will not be able to access the university education. I am calling upon all of us, those of us who are still students in the universities, let us organize ourselves that we suspend learning in September and forward our grievances and ensure that the old funding model that was very fair, our parents used to pay around 20,000 per semester for our degrees. But unfortunately, right now, our parents is forced to pay 120,000 Kenya shillings for a degree, which is quite unfair and totally unequal for almost cutting across all families in Kenya. So if I can give a mic to another person to share or give us his idea about the new funding model, so that I'll contribute later about the same topic. Allow me to give another person the mic.
Yeah, sure. To it, personally, I feel like let's have Sarden Castro. Sarden Castro is also from my alma mater in Technical University of Mombasa. So, Sarden, I don't know, what's your view on the current funding model?
Good evening, everyone. I hope you are getting me. Am I audible?
Yeah, sure. We can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So basically, this new funding model, me, I'm against it. And whatever we are championing now, I think it has come a bit late, but still not late that far that we cannot reverse things. I don't know what, like Nadi said the other day, I don't know the motivation that Ruto has with these new things. You know, when you see an individual just like new things that nobody has ever practiced somewhere, then it means there are more hidden agenda about the same. So when you look at about the new funding model, and as compared to the old one, which was the DUC, you see this one is more centered and shifted burdens on the students. Because the other one, you could be granted loans without even looking about or caring about the background. But now somebody wants to tell you that we are going to grant you a loan because of a background. So there is this level A, there is level B. How are you going to determine these backgrounds? How are we sure that even the guy who is going to do this determination, even the sarcasm that they are presenting to us are things that don't add up. So it is quite unfortunate that someone has talked about calling about the leadership of the university to step up. I'm worried about that, because the real leadership of university that we had sometimes back, the voice of comrades is no longer there. We just have vagabonds who are, parading themselves as leaders, whereas they just want to be invited on the table. They are given their things, and then they are now quiet. If we are capable to have leaders who could even be called and be given as minimum as less as 3,000 to suppress the Gen Z man, I'm worried if these are the same people who can bring our views on the table and help us fight this irreducible model that actually it is a burden and is going to kill. Even the level of education is going to go back, because if you are told that for you to pursue engineering, you have to pay more than 300,000. Somebody who has the passion of engineering, because of, you see, the background, will end up running back to arts. I'm not saying that, I'm not discrediting arts, but I'm saying concerning passion, somebody has passion in engineering, but now the funds that you need to acquire that engineering, you are not able to meet it. So it means you have to settle down for another option, which was not your passion. By doing this, my friends, we are lowering the level of education. Another thing that my brother Toez has talked about is an equity. We are not sure that this thing, the distribution of these resources is going to favor each and every criteria. Because when you tell us that, you see, when you are coming from a less, I don't know how they're going to disappoint that you are coming from a less poor background, or you are coming from a middle class, and then now the grant is different. There's already an equity there, and as students, and the real comradeship that we knew back then was speaking one voice. But now we are now being divided. You know, Ruto likes the divide and rule thing, and now he's decentralizing it down back even to our universities. That now you see, these are the people of less, they're poor, they're middle class. That's a wrong division. That if you bring up a child, not a child, but a comrade, when you're coming up with such mentality, then where is Kenya going in the next few years? If you are coming up with such, such mentality. You see, the DUC, was the old model, was centered on the program that a student was going to pursue. You see, for instance, if a student is pursuing medicine, based on the available resources, they were given a grant without, checking on the level of the need of the background of this person. But what happens to the new model? It is centered on the student itself. You are centered that, we want to pursue medicine. But what is the state of where you're coming from? You see, it's actually something that is uncouth. And how I wish that those who are still in the universities to champion this, because I'm telling you point blank, if we want to rely, maybe other universities still have people who can be called leaders. But just to give an example, I'm sorry, I'm from Technical University of Mombasa, but we don't have a president. We have somebody parading to be one, but doesn't have the interest of comrades. Maybe other universities, there are still people like that. But if we want to rely on this student leadership, I'm afraid that thing has died, because even the KUSO itself, how many presidents and KUSO, how many people have claimed themselves to be presidents of KUSO? There are many, so we don't even know whether that KUSO exists. So this thing is upon us, who the recent people who graduated, and those people who are at the verge of graduating, and the people who are still coming up, to join hands together. But if we leave this thing to people who think all leaders, they will never fight for us. And I tell you, I am a politician. I love politics. And I tell you, when you cannot champion something for yourself like Gen Z did, somebody will ride on it, just like the way Raila Odinga rode on the interest of Gen Z. You fight, but because he's the big dog, he's being mentioned and being paraded to a table, and then he presents his people, and now you think, things are well. No, we are people who are informed. We are not reasoning like people who have never attended. And we should not reason like backward people who don't know what is the difference between a Gen Z and a Gen S. The difference is we are fearless, we are leaderless, but the best thing of it, we are informed. So we cannot leave others to decide things on us, something that affects us directly. We are informed. So for now, I think I'll rest my mic there, but as going forward, we'll still maneuver more. But let us not be taken away with this issues of, the president is a demagogue. So anything that, just psychs you physically or by the word of mouth is what he likes, but delivering it, it's told of when somebody tells you when a deal is too sweet, you have to think twice. Yeah. Some of us, I'm shocked. I'm here to graduate December, yeah. But some of my friends graduated last year, and you are graduating, you have not even been employed. Helb is now asking you that you owe us. You see, so those are the difficulties that these things will bring. Otherwise, let me arrest my mic for that. Thank you.
Yeah, tisa.
Maybe co-host, you can assist us to run this space. I can see no one is speaking right now, and we have a lot of speakers here. Maybe you can give chance to every speaker who has the mic on, and then maybe some of us will drop our mics to give other people who like to speak a chance. So, co-host, please.
Hello.
We have Samuel YK, WK. Samuel, can you hear me? Rogers, we have Sam Mokaya. Can you hear me? If you have the mic on, can you please speak so that you can give your points, and then we'll have other people airing their views and concerns about the same.
Hello. Hello.
Rogers, we can hear you. Please contribute.
Okay, I think thanks for hosting this space, for Sonko. I just want to say that in Kenya we have so many universities, and dealing even with the three main universities, that is KU, I think JKUAT and UON, will also become very difficult. And so if dealing with three may become very difficult, then you can estimate how difficult it is to deal with over 10 of them.
Okay.
And so
Thank you, Speaker. Point of correction, huh? If I can correct you, all of us here are in different universities in Kenya.
it's true.
So if we start pointing out as that the universities in Kenya, that's not where we are heading. So please, wherever you are contributing, kindly be.
Okay.
I hope you
Okay, it's noted then. But I just want to say that any leadership that comes in, okay, maybe I can say any government that comes in after every 5 years, there's a change in various ministries and various parastatals that are in. And so this, talking about the funding model that we have right now, I think this is because of change in leadership, and the leaders who are now who we elected in government, and I think now it's the CS Ministry of Education, who is Julius Migosi, Honorable Julius Migosi, is that we need to wait first. I think this thing of university funding, we need to wait. For me, I was funded by by the Helb, and so I don't know how it works right now, but I think it's still in place. Hello.
We can hear you.
Okay. And so that's what I wanted to say. But the current funding model needs to be changed, I think so, and at least lower the current fees, the current funding, for various courses in various universities.
Okay. Thank you, Rogers. Thank you for your contribution. I can see two of you. That is Yose or AI and Sam Mokaya. So I'll start with Yose. Yose, can you hear me?
Hello? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Please proceed.
Thank you. I want to say that the new funding model, one is something that is made to make university education inaccessible to the poor. And I don't know why this government is making everything that is changing everything that was working before. First, today for anyone to do a course like medicine or engineering, even with the funding at the highest level, the one they are calling to group 1 to group 5, even at the highest level of funding, the parent will still be required to pay more than 50,000 every year to help fund, or every semester to help fund that education. Then you wonder why the government is first, instead of giving capitation directly to the university, it is passing all the costs to the student. Then the student has to seek or to apply for help. So if one doesn't get, then a parent would be required to pay close to $1 million to fund such high ed courses. I don't know. I think if there are any students here, we need to petition the government to relook at the funding model and to have the system made, to have the system reverted back to what was working. Currently, the way we were being told when you were studying that once you score well in high school and you go to university, you will be funded, and everything will be okay. Today, the most harabes are for the students who are going to university. Education is no longer free like how it was our times some time back. So I think I don't know what to inform the government to do this move, but I want to say that the system as it is made to disadvantage the poor. Secondly, even after getting the help loan, the same the student will be finishing university with a loan of $1 million to pay. So you wonder even how this person, even after securing a job, these people will again will again be required to pay this help in lifetime. So I don't know what is the problem with our system with our education. So you have caught me an alert. I was doing something. Maybe I might get back again when I arrange my thoughts correctly. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Yose. We have Sam Mokaya.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, host, for the opportunity. We have a government that believes that whatever they come up with is good. They don't have the data. They don't have the scientific data that supports what their proposals are with regards to the new funding model. But this same government is so much determined that that model goes through so that they are able to save some money that otherwise they could have funded different programs in universities. Now, here are two things. One is that anybody who has been given a letter, whether you've been in band 2, band 3, band 1, whatever band you are in, and you're not able to pay, make an appeal. That is the first thing, so that you are placed in a band that pays the little, the most, the freer. So that is the first thing. Number two, university leaders have met before and they have made a declaration that this funding model does not favor majority of the students because there is misbanding, let me call it so. So let people cause a crisis while in universities. This government will never understand anything you say until they see you on the ground and you reject this thing in totality. The reason as to why they're coming up with a different funding model is because they are unable to give money which has already been allocated to education, money that comes from Kenyans taxes. They are just not able to take that money wholly to universities so that they can fund university education. In fact, most universities have not received close to 80% of the monies that they are supposed to receive from the government. So the government failure to submit these monies, because despite education gets the highest share of the revenue that the country collects, they deliberately squander that money and fail to submit the monies that are meant for universities, and then they want to take that cost from their hands onto the hands of the pockets of parents and children and students. So that is something that must be contested highly. But how they propagate it, every single day the president speaks, he will tell you that we are trying to help students from vulnerable communities, vulnerable families. But none of those vulnerable communities or vulnerable families have come up to complain that the current funding model is a problem. So they come up with an imaginary issue, they want to support it and run with it. So let people cause a crisis as they report to schools. So everybody must report and a crisis must happen for this government to listen. Otherwise, they are going to do what they know best, manipulate people and manipulate the minds of others. I will have spoken more, but because we are many on the space, I'll leave it there. Maybe I'll get a chance later on.
Okay, thank you so much, Mokaya, for your contribution. I can see Sam. Sam, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you.
Please proceed.
University new funding model. For me, I look at it from education in general. You know, because when we say university funding, we look like we are trying to separate education, the whole of it, and what we need, and I think every Kenyan here wants that, is for everyone to have access to education, a high quality education, but not only education, but to only and to also be able to work and find a job, to work in the field, that you went to school to study. My view or my opinion would be that we must have a budget for education increased with probably with more than 25% or even more. Okay, like the budget allocation, we must boost the share of education with 25%. But also, if we're increasing it with 25%, we must make the process transparent. Like there must be transparency in the process of how someone is getting funding for their education. First of all, we can start with giving free, we can start by telling the government we need free education from primary to high school. But when you are going to the next level, when you're going to college, when you're going to a university, whatever you're going to pursue, we must have a merit-based scholarships. You see, must have a merit-based. Someone you come, they look at your family. How much does your family get? How much is your income if you're working? And that will make sure that people's needs are met, that nobody's disadvantaged. Those who can afford it, because we still have, and I think the only people who can really afford education in Kenya is the children of the political class. Majority of Kenyans cannot afford education. It's very expensive. So even if you see them bringing a new model, this is not helping Kenyans, because if there is no transparency in funding, especially when we say that if you are going to Nairobi University, you will get a room, you will get a stipend, you will get a proper
Did we lose some? Or is it on my end?
No, I think we have lost him, and I think Joseph Mugo may continue. Joseph.
Sorry, I think we lost the speaker. We can have, for those who have not contributed, please, you can contribute and then you will give the space or your mics to some other people who have requested. Because I can only have around 9 people with the mics. So please contribute and then you can drop your mic so that we can have other people contributing. I have not seen Alexa speak. Alexa. Okay. Uh-huh. Alexa, are you there? Alionya Roslin.
Mnanisikia?
Nakusikia poa.
Oh, me, I was thinking of a suggestion. What if we, although it might not be easy or it might be very difficult, because I've heard someone from TUM say that most of the student leaders currently are going to bed with the government. What if we start doing the grassroots campaigns like the way Morara is doing? Like we can have KOT travel all universities, interacting with the current first years and those who will be first years by September, getting views from them, because from the look of all of us here, most of us are either in our fourth, third, second year. We are benefiting from the previous model. What if we actually just decide to now move around and get views? This one I'm suggesting to KOT. If it is possible, or if you can find a way of doing it, we actually interact with the current first years and those will be first years in September. They give their honest views from different universities by September. And then it is from those views that you can now use the strategy that one of us has given to us, causing a crisis. Because honestly, those young men and women might not be able to even finish their university education if we don't take care. Because I can see there's laxity from the rest of us because we are not affected. And that is why most student leaders are probably reluctant to even champion or defect from some of these policies, because they are already benefiting from the previous programs that are seamless. It is just a thought. If it is possible, we just do it. We visit these universities, interact with these young men and women, watuambie exactly what is happening, and then we use their views to cause
Hello?
the crisis.
Thank you so much, Roslyn. Basing on your suggestion, the way I understand a comrade usually struggles so much with maybe meeting his daily
Hello?
needs like food, paying his rent, and all that. I don't know if it will be possible
Unanisikia?
for comrades to be traveling across Kenya and visiting all those universities. I don't know. That was just my
Hello?
view. We can have another speaker.
I was suggesting,
Uh,
hello,
mhm. Yeah.
like I was giving it as a suggestion so that one of us can actually be in charge
Hello?
of doing the same. Because I know I know we can support one of us to move around and actually give us these views. Atembetu from university to another, collecting and gathering the information, because it is clear none of us has an idea of what is really happening, and those young ones might not be in a position to air out their views, basically because of the lack of exposure to basically or the bodies that can listen to them or something like that. But you have a point. I know it is expensive, it will be tedious, but if it can happen, KOT is listening. I know he can think around it and we do something about it.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Um, I don't know. Can we have I can see the tribe of something is here with us on the space. I can see also DK Lemaine. I can see Joseph Mugo, and I can see Team Kenya. So let me start with the tribe of, I don't know the full name. If you can hear me, please. The mic is yours.
It's the tribe of Wakanda, bro. But that's all right.
I cannot see the full name. Sorry, I can just see the tribe of Waka something.
It's okay. It's okay. So I just remembered
Okay.
something that we really need to be wary about with this new system. It's not the only thing that should be concerning to us. Unaona, tumekuwa tukiongea about bursaries, and when you think about it, the reason why this model was introduced was because one, the old model walikuwa wanasema iko na many flaws, and the government was not supporting universities enough, ama universities were not getting support from the government as they should, and partly that's because most of the time pesa ya Helb iko inaingia so that students wanaweza lipa universities and the universities to use that money to run the daily business of the university. But when you come to think about it, right now in the country, every elected leader akona a bursary, MCA, women rep, MP, senator, governor, all of them, hadi president akona yake tu hapo chini ya maji. When you combine all these things, I remember the last time Senator Kajwang raised this issue. Like, if you combine all that money, it's actually worthy to give it out to education as opposed to having everyone having a bursary program in their leadership position. And that means hii story ya ati serikali imekuwa na challenge ya kutoa pesa ama ya kukuwa na enough funding to universities and institutions of higher learning is actually a lie. Now that is what they want us to believe, so that we can adopt this new model that is ideally supposed to work, but iko na flaws nyingi sana than the expected outcome. So categorizing wanafunzi is definitely a challenge. Hii lazima tu accept, na kama uoni kama hii kitu ni challenge, mi sijui unapiga hesabu zako aje, because already we know making a living in this country is a hustle. Most of the Kenyans ambao wako huku sahi make their living from the informal sector, which the income haikuangi inakuja direct
ama inakuja consistently, unapata that means hiyo wiki yenye atengenezi do ana go through some turmoil. And when you base you this model is based on kufund students according to the courses. Kuna some courses kama medicine, they cost a lot of money, and then hawaja consider that, hawaja consider hiyo cost ya hizi courses in this model. They have rather put some courses kupata like less money to fund that education as compared to how much they cost. A cost like medical doctor would take like 600,000 kumaliza, and then the government inataka kulipa only 200,000 to a student whose family is not even making 5,000 a month. How is that student going to fund that education? Amalize akwe daktari, and then akimaliza kuwa daktari hata apati kazi, bado akae nje na serikali bado ina expect akwe akilipa part of that loan. So hii story manze ni noma that much. That is just what I remembered, na nikasema let me share that with you guys so that we continue to read all these things, tuone ni wapi hizi reforms zina fail. Are we really included? Hata kwanza kwa hii model nakumbuka time yenye walikuwa wana introduce, someone asked, has the public been involved? How is the public participation? What was the results? Na the public ni nani? Most of the people that should be included kwa hii public participation ni wazazi na wanafunzi and university heads, hata pia high school principals wanafaa kukuwa included kwa hiyo participation, so that wao ndo wanajua the challenges ambazo wanafunzi wao wako nazo, and then they can now say this kind of students student face this challenge to raise this amount of money. Like kuna categories walimu wanakuanga wamejua because they are the people who interact with students directly. The same to the teachers and also the students themselves wanajua challenges zenye wako nazo nyumbani na challenges zenye wanaweza kuwa nazo wakienda kusoma outside their home. So lazima sisi sote tukue included, we participate to raise these issues, and then tukisha raise ndo the new model inafaa kukuwa included. But now the government went ahead decide a certain committee somewhere watakuwa tu wanapewa sitting allowance, and then they come up with ideas about how we can change the model ya financial. We need to call out these leaders kama kama parliament wanafaa wakue wame call out hii model mapema sana. They should be like, this is not going to work and we are not going to accept it and implement it. We make it possible that this model does not continue. Kumbuka pia when Keoti Songo asked me that this model was ilianza kuimplementiwa last year, and I would just like to tell everyone it started last year, but when you look at every student ambaye aliapply for this model to get funding, 90% of the students I'm very sure hawajapata. I am among the students ambao wameapply for funding for this new course, for this new funding. Na mimi yangu imekuwa matua hapo. Every time I check that website for the last like 5 months, they've been saying it's in the processing stage. Processing stage for 5 months, muna process nini? Na si mimi peke yangu, definitely, of course, but this is a website that is supposed to have been doing their job. Hawa ni wase wanalipwa na pesa yetu sisi kama taxpayers, wanafaa wakuwa wamefanya kazi yao ya ku make sure that when they receive these applications, hata kama ni a new model, they should have put in measures ya ku ensure that hizo applications zote watapatana nazo, they'll be able to deal with them in due time. Right now, so many students, I know, ilibidi wamedefer because they could not raise the school fees ya kusoma, especially those who did not make it to it's crazy. It's insane. We should not allow this to continue.
Okay, thank you, the tribe of Wakadinali. We have DK Lemain. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, yes, oh yes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you, Towet and KOT. I think in our time, I think I was in college in the year 2010, around there. And I think we were paying 26,000 per year. And the then model was, I think, universal. It cut across to all courses. So I'm wondering now what happened, and who is this always to be consulted, because the constitution that we have, in fact, is one of the best in the world. It really rose public participation, has elevated it to so high that you've even seen our courts maybe rendering most of the acts of parliament null and void because of the public participation. So on this new model now that we see in play, who was consulted in this public participation? Were professors called? Who was in that participation? Because it has always been that it is published maybe in the newspapers that we have a public participation, but in real sense there is nothing like that. It's just a town hall. It's paid. Then it's just like a rubber stamp. It's just rubber stamp on a petition. What we want is that the university fee, because for you to attain even that C plus that merited you to qualify for that funding, you really worked so hard in high school. So my opinion is that the university, the regular or the KUCCP maybe candidates should always join university free, and that model should not include any, maybe say for the SSP, the self-sponsored program students. I think those are the students that I think should maybe pay a little fee, but for the regular student to always get that education free.
Hello.
And to be funded by the Helb fully. So I think the government must reconsider. Okay, we had the PS education on this basis, I think last month, and she was able to really elaborate or explain this new model. I really disagreed with her on that day, and that we really need universities to be free, because it was not okay. I had a relative last year who was admitted in the University of Nairobi, my alma mater, and this was a regular student, and she was supposed to pay more than, I think, 100,000 or even thereabout. And I was shocked. Why and how then? So even this new or the amended funding model should be relooked at. So I ask all the comrades to always come up, think about it, because getting even that 26,000 in these harsh economic times is an issue. So let me just end there now. KOT and Toet, back to you.
Okay, thank you, sir. I can see Joseph Mugo. Joseph Mugo, if you can hear me.
Mnanisikia kweli? Excuse me.
Joseph Mugo,
Mnanisikia kweli?
nakusikiza vizuri sana. Ni vile tu upunguze hiyo msikiko kwa
Okay,
background.
nimesonga mbali kidogo. Okay, KOT na co-host na wote wenye mko hapa leo. Kulingana na hii shida yote, unajua ni ile tu tunajaribu kuongelelea, tunajua shida mahali iko, lakini tuna hit around the bush. Hii shida yote ni kitu yenye imeanzishwa na mtu mmoja, na kusema hata hii funding, hii model ya funding ni the same issue yenye imefanyika to the health ministry and to other ministry, hata Kenya Power hii yenye mnaambiwa muupdate token. Ni jamaa anajaribu kushift, yani ile attention kwamba the system inafanya kazi ya kila kitu ndio aweze kuiba vizuri, because hakuna vile utanidanganya itafika a point yenye shule inataka pesa na hiyo pesa hawawezi iona, wanaambiwa sijui system sijui nini, but ukweli ni kwamba system is just a facilitator wa kwamba tunataka kutumia manual way, tunataka if kama ni pesa inafanyika ina transparent way, lakini sasa kitu jamaa amefanya, hamjui hata hizo pesa zote mkilipa kwa paybill, nani ndio signatory wa hizo pesa, kwamba zinatolewa aje, zingine zinaibiwa aje, accountability inakosa. Unapata kunakosa accountability kabisa, na unapata inafika mahali penye kabisa hakuna hata pesa kwa university. Unaambiwanga tu kwa akiwa juu ya gari, nimewaachilia bilioni 40 kwa university, watoto wasome, mnafurahi hiyo area kidogo, anatoka anaenda, but in real sense account za shule ziko empty, zote ziko empty. Hakuna, sidhani kama shule, kuna shule yenye kwa saa hii imepata pesa, the same to counties bado. So tuko na kibarua kubwa na ni kutokea tu hii saizi, kwa saizi tujipee tu break ya kufanya civic education sana juu hiyo naona ndio inafanya watu wote wapotee. Kitu kama student leaders wa university, hao ni watoto wadogo siku hizi, wanakompromisika dakika moja. Mtu kama huyo hata tu anaitwanga tu na anadanganyiwa na pesa kidogo sana, anaambiwa wewe enda tangaza hivi na hivi kwamba mtaki strike nini, vitu kama hiyo, juu wanajua hiyo ndio target kabisa, na mtu kama huyo hana utofauti na mwanasiasa. So hatujapata hata kiongozi mmoja sahi wa shule yote mwenye anaweza simama against na aseme hey, hii iko hivi na hivi na hivi. So hii vita ni vita yenye, kuna mtu alikuwa ameongelea kuhusu kutembea universities na mashules, pia kufanya hiyo civic education huko juu. As much as Morara anafanya kwa projects, pia tunafaa kuelimisha watu wenye wako shule. Unajua iwezi kuwa decision ya kila mtu kwa shule kwamba hataki hiyo maandamano ama hataki kwenda against whatever, lakini sauti ikitolewa na kiongozi, unajua wanaogopa. So tuna need viongozi wenye wako mashule, pia ma lecturers nani, mteke initiative kabisa kuelimisha watu, ndio siku tutasema tunatoka ikuwe ni hiyo siku, juu saa hizi kila mtu, kila department, kila kona anaumia. Iwe health, kuna hiyo scandal ya news, iwe agriculture, kuna new system inakuja, ndio unaona ati kuna kulimitiwa sijui kupanda ndengu, ulipe license, unalipa ikienda wapi hiyo pesa? Unaona kila so saizi ni kila ministry kuna scandal na kuna introduction of the new system. Mbona asitumie the older system? Meanwhile unaona hata kupurchase hiyo system bado ni pesa, kuimplement ni pesa, na at the end of the day hakuna pesa inafikia mwananchi. Hao ndio wana pocket pesa kwa mifuko yao. So that thing ni kitu yenye ni serious, na saa hizi tu ina touch education juu imeanza kutouch education. Juzi ili touch health, hatujui next inaelekea wapi. So kila mtu tu ni ajue kila kona ni kubaya, na hii si time ya kusema kucheka na mtu, na hii ni time ya kukua serious, because tusipojinasua saa hii ni hivyo, nao watapata pesa mingi ya kufanya campaign tayari washaanza. So mi nasema tu mkuwe strong. Niko na challenge ya net sometimes, nakuja space napotea, narudi niko mahali indiria kwa desert kidogo. So hiyo tu ndio naweza sema kwa sahi. Then hapa ndani pia kuna wale watu wasaliti kidogo. Mtu yoyote akikutext inbox na uone anakimbilia kukuomba namba yako private, usipeane. Nimegundua kuna kitu inaendelea kama hiyo. Wakiona uko more kuongea about negativity, wanakutumia. Atakuwa tu spy mwenye ako hapa ndani, atakuchatisha uone anaanza kuambia nitumie namba yako tuongee. Sasa mnaongea nini na hamjuani at first thing? Kama yeye angetaka kuongea ukimwambia akutumie yake, hivyo ndiye ana disappear. So mkae rada bado at the same time. So kwa saizi tu kitu tuongelee tu ni sawa, kuna hiyo shida tushagundua, ni tuone tutajitoa aje, because the more tutasema tunaweka break kidogo hivyo, huyu jamaa ndiye atatumaliza hivyo. So tusupport mambo ya morara, na at the same time kila mtu aingie kufanya civic education sana, ndio siku tutaamua tunatoka kesho tukuwe na numbers ya kutosha country wide. Hiyo tu kwa sahi, wacha tutafute kurely na numbers, because unajua akikuja mahali kama Kisii adanga nimefanya wantu, hakuna at the end of the day hakuna. So sioni need ya sisi kufurahisha, na reality kwa ground ina hit. Mtoto shule ni hiyo shida, university ni hiyo shida, kuja kwa ugonjwa kwa health sijui NHIF haifanyi, na pesa iko inatolewa inakatwa kwa kazi, unaona. So mkatae kabisa, na hii ndio time na hakuna time ingine, mimi ndawaambia ukweli. So good night wote, na tukazane kabisa.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Rogers. I've seen a few speakers who have not spoken here. Alexa. Alexa, are you available? Because I would like to, if you cannot speak, I'll have to drop you so that I can have other members who would like to speak to take your mic. Alexa, are you there? Because you're not available. Yose, are you available?
Hello.
Okay, please proceed.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay, I wanted to talk a little about the issue of this new classification, the one they are calling something mini standard test, something like that, to classify students and put them in the different buds. I have scanned at their Twitter, the Twitter for Helb, and everyone is complaining about being placed in buds or in higher buds for middle income and higher income earners, yet they themselves are jobless, their parents are jobless. I've even seen another one complaining, saying that he's a police constable and he's been put at, I think, at band 4 or band 5, whereby he's earning less than 30 or roughly 30,000 a month, but he's being put in the same category of people who are earning over 100,000. Others are complaining, saying that they are earning less or their parents are completely jobless, yet they have been put in batch of band 4, band 5, where for a course like medicine or engineering, a parent would be equal to pay close to 100,000 every year to educate their students in such levels. So what I want to say is that first, this standard test, this bad or this testing system is a foreign system. I don't know why we have so much appetite for these US and these foreign standard systems. This means testing instrument is a US system that is used to categorize their students, either to get the funding or even to get the help in terms of in terms of medical care and the others. And this mean standard testing or mean testing instrument will be used not just in help or in students. It will also be used to categorize people in terms of how much they should pay in terms of insurance. This one for health insurance. So one thing people should understand here is that with the corruption that we have in this in our system and in the current government, people will be required to bribe officials for them to be put in a favorable band for them to be able to access this education. So let us educate each other and let us call for the government to either make education free or to revert it to a system whereby a parent can be able to afford to pay this education. Like how one of the former speakers ameongea akasema is that ukiangalia kama hizi pesa zinatolewa za bursaries, each MP, each MCA, each governor is having bursaries. If all those money were to be put in a basket, they could make education system free. But since the government want to make us beggars of them, they want to praise these politicians so that we beg to them to get these services. That is why they are taking all this money, giving them to these politicians, and now you have to go to near to them for them to give bursaries to the school to schools. So these are all these are corrupt systems and foreign systems that are being brought to us and are which are being forced to us without knowing what they are, without knowing they are, without being tested to know the impact. Like now, there are very many students complaining that the applications, even for the continuing students, have not yet gone through. There are some who are saying they are proceeding to second year, yet they have not received money for the first year. So, if this system continues to fail to work like this, and a student who is required to pay 100,000 does not get these bursaries or does not get this help, that will make education a preserve for the rich. My call to each one of us is let's continue with civic education. Let's continue with recording this off so that the government will know that we are to commercial, tunaona, and we will not keep quiet. We will continue talking until they do something. I think that's much I have for now.
Thank you. Emmanuel. Manuel.
Tawet, I think just to a second, Jose, bottom line, hapa, I think it's just 2 points. One, civic education. Number two, why can't we demonstrate to call for these bursaries be disbanded and this money be wired to schools? Sababu wengi wanasiasa wengi wanatumia hii pesa vibaya. Unapata ni marafiki wao ndio wanawapatia, na hao marafiki wao they are not even the deserving cases. So I think what we need is that these bursaries be wired directly from the CDF. Yeah, MCA. Imagine my MCA gets 12 million per year on bursaries. The MP has a CDF bursary. The governor has a CDF bursary. The governor has his own bursary allocation. So why don't they wire this money to schools, universities, high schools, and the education be free? I think that is a very noble cause if we can begin to call for that. Sababu Kenya kuna pesa. So this education system can be free. Education and health can really be free. Okay.
Toyota, are you still there? Can you hear me?
I'm still there. I'm still there.
Can you hear me, Toyota?
I can hear you. We had a speaker contributing. I don't know if he has finished. If he has finished, then we can have some of the speakers who have not spoken yet.
Okay, fine. Then, yeah, he's done.
Okay, maybe you can take over.
Okay, fine. So, guys, thank you so much for joining this space. Of course, I started this space 1 hour ago, and I was at a very noisy place. I mean, 2 hours ago, and I was at a very noisy place. And currently, I'm back home, so at a very quiet place, and sure we can communicate. And so, Towet and the other co-hosts, thank you so much. So, guys, basically, what we are talking about is the new funding model, the university funding model, and of course, if you've been in university before last year, then probably you know that the government used to sponsor students. Even if you went to a private university or a public university, still the government could sponsor you. But currently, we're having a very different funding model where for a person to qualify for the government sponsorship, he or she has to apply through the HEF portal. And of course, you have to provide the parents' documents. If they are employed, you have to provide all those employment details. And so after that, the HEF, that's the education fund system, they go through those applications, and of course they award you the scholarship. But now we're having different bands where students are being given scholarships depending on where they come from. And of course, if you are so fortunate enough to come from a humble background, of course you get the higher location. But if you are coming from a background where your parent has ever been employed in the government, it doesn't matter, he's been employed there as a chief or as a president, you'll be having a very smaller allocation. So that's basically what we've been talking about. And of course, I've tried to apply for a few guys the scholarship to the university, those who just finished the KCSE the previous year. And of course, some of them have received the scholarship, others are yet to receive the scholarship. But they're so different because they are allocating depending on where you guys are coming from. Yeah. So you'll find out that even we have some students who are not aware of the funding model. So whenever they apply through the CUSP, they are allocated a university. Then they wait for a letter from a university so that they can join probably in September. But now they're not aware of the funding model. Somebody has done KCSE. He got a different, maybe he got a direct entry grade. They think We are still back in those days where the government could pay a certain amount, then a student pays 16,000 per semester. Others were paying 19,000 per semester. In other campuses, were paying to as low as 13,000 per semester. So in a year, you find out that a person is only paying 26,000. The other money were being catered for by the government. But unfortunately, currently, we don't have something of the sort. If you are so unfortunate enough not to receive the scholarship funding or allocation, of course, you are forced to pay more than 200,000 per year, yeah, for a person who is doing an arts course. But if you are doing an engineering course, you are being forced to pay over 400,000 in a year. So at the end of 4 to 5 years years in the university, you are paying more than 1.2 million. So you find out that this the new funding model, it's going to be very expensive to those who don't know how to go about it, and so a lot of students will be locked out, and by being locked out, of course, they are now not receiving that right to education as per the Constitution of Kenya. So I don't know what you guys have to say about that, because personally, I feel like the new funding model is very oppressive, because it requires a lot of attention, yeah. And of course, a single mistake, you are done. So I know most of us have spoken here, but I really want to hear from you guys who just joined this space. Then probably in the next like 10 to 20 minutes, we should be ending the space, because we have other things to do tomorrow. Wake up, still inject on the government as we wait for those guys to do the accountability. So sijui ni nani ajaongea. Sudden I didn't hear you because I was kind of in a noisy place, and I don't know if you finished submitting your thoughts and what you know about the new funding model.
So maybe you are still healing from the outbreak, but maybe I can just add to some people who are still doubting the dangers of this so-called new model. Maybe I can just enlighten you a bit, and I will liken the new funding model as to the finance bill. If you were keen, there was part in finance bill for those of you who might have gone through it. As was talking about land, and you were being told that, you see, you have a land, but as long as you cannot keep up with the land now diminishes and automatically becomes that of government. The same thing happens with the new finance bill. I mean, not the finance bill, but with the new funding model. Like I did with my first submission, is that it is something that has been centered. It is not what we used to know. It is something that has been centered back to the student. And you will realize, even if you eventually go through, and I'll still ask you the same question. You guys talk about, if you're lucky to be coming from a humble background, when you start, when you start grouping comrades to that level, that there are people who are coming from low background and they mean, first of all, how is sure that this person who is going to determine this background? You cannot rely on information when you talk about background. Is the same of which, I did a project of which when I was when I was taking my projects, that is a graduate project, I did a project of factors influencing voters' decision making. But I was warned about dealing with a factor like the level of income of individual, because you cannot determine it. An individual who has maybe 2 sons and earning 20,000, the level of income of the person is not the same as an individual with 1 son. So when you tell me that you're going to determine that somebody is coming from a low background, to me, you are dividing and ruling, and there is an equity. So why was I likening the new model, the new funding model with the land issue in finance bill? It is something that even if you are lucky to get that grant, I'm telling you, it is like you are signing your warrant as a loanee of the government forever. Because if you are taking a course like, let's say, engineering, which will go for 6 years or 5 years, and then you are given that huge amount of money, which we don't know whether you can get it, but if you are lucky to get it, it means that by the end of these 6 or 5 years, what you are owing the government is something which is, I mean, it will even discourage you from even starting to work. And as you know, not that you will finish your education and then you just get employment immediately. That one is not guaranteed. But even if you do so, you nowadays you just graduate like this, then the help desk is with you. Day as one, so your loan is like so. Even if you're being paid, and remember, if you are now being paid and you are a civil servant, these are things that nobody will ask you for a permission to take them. They will be deducted automatically. You will end up that they will end up that you are a very influential and you are very good in your career. But what you take back home as an individual is not something that you can even, you can even brag about that I am an engineer. You are even, this is why many youth face a lot of difficulties. So I'll just tell you, this new funding model is something, and I tell you, it is not even close to good. Like I said, our president is a demagogue. So when you see something that is good and is being likened to you, I don't know what is the problem with this new leadership. I mean, that we elected. They like experimenting new things, which if you look at them, it is something that, the IMF, what does the IMF want with us? They want us to be their slaves. And that is what this new funding model will do to comrades. If it goes through, then comrades will remain to be the slaves of the government forever and forever. You will be working, your salary is being deducted, there's nothing you can take home. And going forward, education will lose its meaning, mama. The education which was viewed as the things to, rectify the community will go to be diminished because you had a passion of engineering, you cannot do it because of the high funding model. You had a passion of engineering, if you see a role model of your friend who was pursuing engineering and is now employed, what is earning or what she's earning, she cannot brag of. So what do? You lose hope with the same career and you end up changing careers. So generally, education is like in short terms, they want to tell us that education is for the rich. So then where are we heading as a nation if education is only for the rich? Are we not all the same equal? So to me, I'll stand to reject it. But another thing that I also propose, let us not rely on the student leaders. These people are the same. I've been one, but I've never, there are different leaders. The leaders that we have at this current time, we cannot brag that there are people who can champion. I saw the sarcasm they did to that meeting that they had. That's a sarcasm of, somebody just seeking attention, but it is not a sarcasm for somebody who wants to bring change. If it was something to bring change, it could be well organized and well influential and audible enough. But these are people who, you are leaders and you behave like goons who have been paid. So this is something that we stand, even if we talk about civic education, I tell you, right now, if you bring 100 in a room and you do a civic education, I tell you point blankly, as somebody who has done statistics, you will get out of that room 50-50. There are now 50 supporting it, 50 don't support it. Unless you're going to do a civic education of saying, we are doing a civic education against. Fine, if it is against, then it might work. But if it is you want to explain to people what the new funding model is, and that one, we are creating more problems because somebody will be pointing out what you are aligning them to as an advantage. But in the real sense, we know this thing is not an advantage. And I tell you, it is a disaster which is looming. So let us not allow our sisters and our brothers who are upcoming to undergo such mediocrity and such hardship when it comes to learning. Education was something that was meant to be free during Kibaki's era. I don't know where the rain started to devour us, but we can still change it as the youth. This thing is about the spirit and the willingness. But if we want to relate down so that other people can fight for us, it will never happen. It is us to stand up and raise the bar for what we need to take place in our nation. Otherwise, thank you.
So sudden before you go on, I don't know if you are still at TUM because the last time I was there, you are not yet done with your course, and of course probably maybe this year, if I'm not sure, if I'm not wrong, probably by this year. What are the student leaders in the university doing? Because I think it was in a few weeks they were here in Nairobi. and of course you were attending a certain meeting with the government officials. Those guys back in room, is there anything they are doing? Because during those days, I remember we could even go to the streets whenever we felt like we're being oppressed. Do you think the student leadership is helping in such circumstances?
Okay. Just to clarify, yeah, I'm graduating on December. Yeah, so that's when I usually down my gown for the academic regalia. And then just as I've said that I've seen those people, I don't know, it's last week, but one, they had a meeting, and I've stated critically that without a iota of doubt, that meeting was only something to seek attention. I've not seen something productive coming out of that. You know what we used to do in the olden times. When you need something to be done, you know what we could do. But you cannot tell me that you were leaders. I'm sorry to say, how are you telling me that you are a leader, you are going for a meeting to champion, you know, for the rejection of the new funding model. But in your institution, there are students being invoiced for 3,000, minutes to exam until they make some noises themselves is when a correction measure is taken. So just like I said, I don't want us to rely on the student leaders. Let us rely on ourselves. We are having student leaders who are wolves in sheep's clothes. So we cannot go towards that.
Okay. Thank you so much, Saden. I think I'm having Rose here. Roslyn, you've been at Machakos University. I know you are done with your with your undergraduate course and of course doing a master's. But I know you remember what happened during those days, and of course you are aware of the new funding model. The same to you, Roslyn. Do you think the student leaders from Machakos University have the urge to fight this new funding model, or do you think they feel like it's okay on their side? From Machakos University, what are the students talking about, or what are they saying about the new funding model, Roslyn?
Hello guys, mnanisikia?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, sure.
Okay, I think there's that nitaita disclaimer or what. Most students are in the dark. They don't know what is really happening to, or what is really required for the model, because most students are going to the cyber for the cyber people to fill for them the documents etc. Hata wengine bado hawajaelewa hii mambo ya bans and etc. The question of student leaders, I've had my friend akisema there's a time they went. That time when student leaders were meeting the PS of education in Yangala to discuss the new funding model, the student leaders of my alma mater were on vacation in Mombasa. So you can just try to get the disconnect when issues that matter to the students are being discussed. Those people were on vacation, enjoying themselves. So probably their input on the matter was not even heard, and it will not be heard. So as someone has said, the Duale bill ilifanya, nowadays we are electing tumbocrats who are basically there to also fit in their pockets. They don't have the leadership values. They don't have the comradeship spirit that could stand firm to say no to things that are wrong and to support those things that are right. Of course, kuna policies zenye zinasaidia comrades, but hatujaona yoyote. But these student leaders are not coming out clearly. So unapata, like I saw videos circulating where Manyara and people from Kuso and the student leaders who were there agitating and saying no to the model, appearing to be very sad. But the truth of the matter is, probably they were sad because whatever package yenye walikuwa wamekuwa promised hawakupewa. Someone has mentioned 3,000, so probably they received 1,000 and they were sad. So it means when their packages are of the right amount, bado tu they will keep quiet and the model will continue. So as someone has suggested, then I think it is upon the students themselves to come out and say no and give elaborate reasons why they are saying no. Because the reason why Reject Finance Bill was a success is because people like you, wenye mko hapa, you created civic education, mkasema hii kwa finance bill ni mbaya, the thing of land ni mbaya. Na ndio maana kila mtu tool down their tools akakuja kuandamana. So it is the same for this academic funding model, and it is not the only issue. I've had someone mention the issue of bursaries. It is high time as a generation, because sisi ndio tutakuwa leaders in the next years after these people have died and others retired from politics. It is high time the bursaries, hiyo pesa ibaki kwa treasury ifanye vitu zingine, because pesa inaenda, yani kuna hiyo, in business we call it double funding, because an MCA has a CDF fund, an MP has a CDF fund for the same people, governor has the same allocation for the same people. As in, there's a lot of money that is going into waste. If the leaders were truthful, honest and accountable, hiyo pesa ingekuwa inasaidia the education sector. But since most of the political class are corrupt, haiwezi. So amongst those issues, na zingine mingi, I know there are burning issues in the education sector. We have not even talked about CBC. I am a teacher by profession, and I can tell you for a fact, if you have a child who is in public primary school, that is just a lost generation. CBC is only working for private schools and schools that have resources. Those students in public schools, mali walimu ni interns, wanalipwa 17,000, and they are expected to teach all subjects when they only went to university to specialize in 2 subjects. Those students are just a mess. So kuna issues mingi za education, but we can start with this model. We bring a stop to it. Hiyo mambo ya CDF, I think hatufai kurudi nyuma. Lazima tukaze kamba mpaka what MPs na ma MCAs waache kupewa the fund. Hiyo pesa irudishwe into kama ni the Ministry of Education, ipewe hiyo pesa, and then the public primary and secondary school watu wapate that education for free. Ikuwe like it is just free for everyone, but there are no bursaries. My thoughts.
Okay. Thank you so much, Roslyn, for sharing with us. And I can see anaitwa nani, Western Shilaho. Your hand is up, so you can share with us, and we are going to end this space in the next 26 minutes. Kindly, Western.
Thanks, KOT, and greetings to the people on this platform. One, I wish to say that if you want to destroy a society, you destroy its education. It's as simple as that. If you want to entrap a society into poverty, and not just poverty for the current generation, but poverty that becomes intergenerational. One's father was poor, they are likely to be poor, their child is likely to be poor. Tamper with the education, and the society is doomed. Which why, in an ideal society, education is an equalizer. An ideal society is a society that is inclusive. A society that has got institutions that function, it's based on the rule of law, and it is not held back by a predatory, corrupt political elite. Education becomes an equalizer. A parent will sacrifice, pay for their child's school fees, knowing that at some point, yes, they'll break this vicious cycle of poverty. That is not the case in Kenya. It's not. So it's deliberate. The things we're discussing about, they're deliberate. Like to mess up the education sector, to come up with a funding model that is so mired in opacity, no one knows what's going on. Whereas the easiest way to do would just have been, you look at what was not working with the previous funding model and to fix those things. If it's money that is less, students were asking money is less. Yes, because of inflation, you increase the money into their pocket. But we should actually be calling for universal education. Universal. What it means that the government collects taxes from Kenyans and provides universal and quality education for every other Kenyan child from grade 0 to tertiary. We should be agitating for that, because when we wake up in the morning, the amount of money we hear that has been looted, I mean, your head can spin. And you wonder, where did that person take that money? And what does he want to do with that money? It doesn't stop. So there's money for universal, not free. It's not free. It's universal. Governments are not in the business of providing free things. They collect taxes from the citizenry and then provide welfare services universally. If it's healthcare, if it's education, universally means you can access healthcare regardless of your station in life. You can access quality education regardless of your station in life. We should be agitating for that instead of discussing which model is this and what is what, and we go around collecting views from students. No, we should be demanding for universal quality education, which takes us back to the question of governance. Fellow compatriots, we will not make any headway, whether it's through civic education or whether it's through the legal route, unless we fix governance. And governance is fixed through politics. It's through politics, nothing else. Politics that is there, that is impoverishing people, that is making people die senselessly of preventable diseases, that poverty must be fought and be replaced by transformative politics that centers the people of Kenya. We don't have that now. We must work for that. We must agitate for that. I always tell those who care to listen to me, students and everybody else, the US, United States of America, is not a superpower or is not a foremost global actor because of its military might. No. It's because it invests in ideas and in its people. American universities are amongst the best in the world. Yes, because they know that is what keeps them ahead of everybody. And China is keeping pace because they also invest in people and education. So that in the recent past, China has been catching up with the West. Number of people they graduate in very strategic areas and PhDs. They're really catching up with the West, and you can see that is also reflected in the economy. So it's not magic. These things, there's no magic there. You need leaders, governors who center their people and invest in education from the beginning to the end, the farthest tertiary. Whether you're talking about Singapore, we like invoking Singapore. We want to be like Singapore. Singapore usually leads the world when it comes to mathematics and sciences. Singaporean students, they don't play games with education. They don't. A tiny country, but they don't play games. Here we are people who don't care about education, and you can tell from the quality of people they appoint to prominent positions. So why would you expect those kind of people to fix education? They will not, because it doesn't register to them that the things they're talking about, governance, food security, environmental conservation, Agenda 20 what, vision this and that, all those things rely on education and skills. Barack, 44th president of the US, is on record saying that whoever out-educates the United States of America will outcompete them. He said that, will outcompete them. So he was urging his people not to lose sight of the ball. And what is the ball? It's education. Not the atomic bomb, not the military might. It's the education, science, research, people. Why does America attract the most talented people from all over the world? Why?
Shilaho, wind up kindly.
Yes, because education is the key. As I want KOT, I think I must correct a narrative. I don't think Mwai Kibaki rectified the education sector in Kenya. Because what Mwai Kibaki did with that free education, which is supposed to be universal, I will tell those who care to listen. When he rolled out that what was supposed to be universal primary education, first, there was no planning in transition. When those kids complete primary, where will be the high schools for them? They were not there. That's when they turned those high schools that were provincial into national schools. And that came with congestion, lack of facilities. Secondly, which is even of greater concern, is that parents left the public education sector into the private sector. And the public education sector was neglected. That's why the speaker just talked about kids who are into CBC are being wasted. It started from there because parents had to go to the private, and then the government completely ignored the public education sector, and it's been left into disuse as we speak now. So this is part of his legacy, actually. This classist, discriminatory education sector in Kenya that we are seeing now is a Kibaki legacy. How did he succeed? He did not. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, bro, for sharing with us. I'm trying to go through a certain tweet here. I found those bands on the new funding model allocation, and I just wanted to go through it, and then to highlight a few points, how these guys are allocating the funds and how students are going to get different allocations. So there's somebody who tagged me in that post. I'm trying to look for it, but anyway, let us listen from Wanjiru as I go through that post. Kindly, Wanjiru. And then before Wanjiru, I can see Wakili Sarun is here, and I had invited him, of course, to have a word with us. I'm sure, Saruni, you know very well how the funding model works, and I would really want you on the speakers panel. So kindly just request, because I've already sent you the invite, then you can share with us as we head into winding up of this space. Anjiro?
Thanks, KOT. I hope I'm audible. Good evening, everyone. Can someone just indicate if you can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you clearly.
Okay, thank you. It's been a while since I joined the conversation. Let me first start by responding to something that the previous speaker has just said, asking about how, or rather highlighting that Kibaki's intervention in education was actually the beginning of the mess we are in, and not necessarily a success story. And I beg to differ, because I feel that Kibaki, at the point when he became president in 2002, access to education was a problem. So the education was a rapid response initiative to just open up access in just for people to be able to go to school, period. Obviously, what he had envisioned was that was supposed to be followed when Uhuru came up. President Uhuru's administration of the structure of education, it just called an already struggling ecosystem. This subject of education is actually quite thorny. I know the subject right now is the university new funding model. And where it is concerned, let me just say, I think obviously I am in tune with this free funding national curriculum, and they go through high school and get a to be able to means let somebody the application process it's yet another loophole to open up avenues for corruption, because that is going to now necessitate people to go and look for MPs or MCAs or whatever, people to go and register, and that's just another avenue of corruption. So the thing that is now being attacked is what actually Kibaki tried to resolve by ensuring issue. A regional issue. It doesn't matter where you are in the country, you have access to education. I think we have a serious challenge where this is concerned, because like the agencies that are in the education sector, we haven't really been paying attention to them up until now. That is the beginning of our problem. So we are not even clear who exactly is responsible for rational.
Sudden, is Mary still speaking? Because I can't hear him. I can't hear her. I mean,
She's like, maybe her network is not good. Even me, I'm not able to get what she's saying.
okay. So, Mary, I think wherever you are, kindly just rectify, then come back. And of course, we're having Wakili Saruni here, and those who I know most of you know Saruni, and so I really want to hear from him on matters the new funding model, because I've tried to speak to a few student leaders. Some of them even I'm 100% sure they don't know about the funding model, because you find most of them are in their third years and fourth year. So it's so hard that they haven't even gone through this. Wakili Saruni, you as one of the student leaders and being in the topmost position, what do you have to say about this new funding model, sir?
Thank you very much, my friend, and my good friend KOTS and Sonko for hosting this space. I think this issue of the new university funding is an issue of key concern among the comrades. And the concern originates from the introduction of this funding model. Because if you look back, you'll find that there was no public participation in terms of the new funding model. There was no stakeholder engagement before the introduction of this model. And when I'm speaking about stakeholder engagement, I'm speaking specifically about the comrades. Student leaders were not involved and engaged throughout the process. So this is something that was brought to the students. It was launched in a university, but no student or student leader actively participated even in the launch. So this is something, it's something that is very foreign to the student fraternity. It is something that has not been communicated. Saizi ndo tumeona after we held Twitter Spaces sometime last month. That's when we started seeing messages and communication specifically targeting the new funding model being brought forward or openly spoken in public. But before that, there was nothing. So even as we see the reaction from these office holders, it's because they know the mess is big, and they know that comrades have not been involved. Comrades do not own this, and I don't feel that it was well rolled out. So there are very many concerns about the new funding model. One of my key concern, and this is something that I've even spoken about with even people in these offices, is about the loan that students are going to leave the school with. You find that students will be leaving campus highly indebted. As in, kitambo tulikuwa unasema ukianza unaanza ground zero. Sasa hii utakuwa unaanza minus, because if you leave university with a loan of 2 million, 3 million, 1.5 million, And you very well know that job opportunities are very hard to come by. This is something that will be oppressing our youth, it will be oppressing our comrades, and we will push these people to poverty. Another concern that I have is about the university.
Wakili, just a minute, Wakili.
Yes.
Keoti, are you not the one who had an opportunity to ask William Ruto the same questions?
Now, thank you for asking that question. However, your question is neither here nor there.
Come on, you guys.
Your question is
Don't come
neither
here on
here or
spaces,
there
come and
because we cannot
pretend
come.
when you had the opportunity. You had the opportunity to ask Ruto those kind of questions, but you failed to ask William Ruto those kind of questions.
Okay, you'll ask him yourself when
Don't
you
come
get an
here and
opportunity because
pretend.
it's my turn to
Don't
speak.
come here and pretend. Don't
Host,
come here and
kindly,
pretend,
I
Wakili, that
demand
you're
for
trying to tell
protection.
us.
Me, I don't want this bashing because let me just finish speaking and then you'll air your issues. This is unacceptable.
Abaya, kindly let's give Saruni time to finish submitting. Then probably you have some question, and if you have a different opinion, you can always share. Personally, I always like something called turn taking. When someone is speaking, we let him finish, then he goes first. I mean, then you can rant, or even you can have your question.
Thank you. So
Akili, just finish.
I will proceed. Let me just
to
proceed.
Abaya.
The other concern that we have is about the review of university fees. You'll find that before the new funding model was launched, universities were instructed to submit the cost of their units, and you'll find that these people took advantage of that. They increased the fees, na hii pesa yote yenye imeincreasiwa ikaenda kwa loan, so students are again added more loan and liability to pay. The other concern is about these universities. Once they get these funds, we have seen how corrupt our universities are. We have seen universities misappropriating resources. So are they being given these resources so that zitolewe backdoors ziende to the VCs and all these other people when you are close to them and all that? I feel that we do not have sufficient proof that hii loan yenye hata students wanaambiwa walipe haitakuwa misappropriated, because we don't want loans that students will be paying to be going and ending up in people's pocket. Also, my final submission is that this university funding model needs to be halted up until it is well refined, well discussed, well endorsed by comrades, well owned. Otherwise, what we have right now is just something that comrades, I don't see how comrades will embrace this. And come September, I'm sure it's in the public domain that within the comrade spaces there will be some actions that will be taken. So another demand that I will push is that we need to have a minimum earning for comrades to start paying that student loan. We can say hata kama ni 40,000 for a comrade. Once you hit 40,000 you can start paying the loan, because hakuna venye mtu ataingia hapa kwa vibarua ameanza kulipwa 20,000 sijui nini, and then you start submitting the same to these payments. Now, in regards to the question that someone here was raising, that I did not ask the president about this question that I'm asking right now, I would want to say that I asked questions. I did not have the whole day to ask all the questions, but I asked questions that, in my opinion, and from the people I had interacted with before, felt that are questions that we ought to have asked. Given more time, I would have asked, including the question that is of much concern, including the university funding and many other questions that I had, but I didn't have the pleasure of all that time. So thank you very much, and back to you, host.
Okay, thank you so much, Wakili. And before you go, I know you guys are you as a person, of course, you are so much in contact with the student leaders, and these spaces as we have been hosting, we have been identifying the problems and try to come up with the solution. So I don't know, in your capacity, if you can not just pushing alone for the total rejection of the new university funding bill. I don't know if you are in contact with the student leaders, and if you have other plans, because students are resuming next month, early next month, and of course the new funding model has been in existence since last academic year. In your own capacity, have you tried to reach out to student leaders, and if yes, what are you guys looking up to immediately the universities have opened?
Thank you very much for that question once again. And yes, I'm in contact with student leaders across board, and we have different categories of student leaders. Students from who are elected in the to serve in the university councils, students who are elected in their counties, students with representing different interest groups among the comrades, and the university funding model is a key concern to the students. Now, in regards to the actions that we are going to take, I want to categorically state that we will soon be communicating the actions that we'll take. I don't want to preempt, but we are in discussions about this. We are in doing dialogue among ourselves on what actions to take. We saw the student leaders, some of the student leaders were invited for a forum at Kenya School of Government, and of course that event was not well coordinated. It was not well nini, so there was nothing that was fruitful came out of that. But it was evident that comrades do not want that funding model, because you could openly see how comrades were reacting and responding to the funding model. And these are student leaders who have been given direct mandate by their students, and the students told them if they don't reject, they should they will face other unajua kuna the way students handle their leaders. So I think that is the communication that came from the students, and the leaders had no option but to do what they did on that day. So coming September, once the schools resume, we will know of the further actions that we'll take. But of course, it is evident that the new funding model is not working. Ukiangalia hata from the statement from UASU, they are saying that the VCs are saying when they are with the president, they are saying they are getting money, but when they come back to the campus, they are saying hakuna pesa, and their staff are not even being paid. So that is enough proof that it's generally not working. So come September, we'll have the actions, and we'll let it known.
Okay, thank you so much, Wakili, and to my able speakers. If you have something to say, or even if you have a question to Saruni, then you can pause as we head into winding up of this space. I was to wind up at exactly 00:11 p.m., but now I feel like we have a group of speakers who haven't spoken. So let me hear from Oguk Lucy. Vipi bro?
Okay, thank you, Sana. This is General Oguk, President Emeritus of Meru University, and I also serve the docket of KUSO, Kenya University Organization. I just want to say that for many who don't understand that there is a new funding model, just the same way you people don't understand it, is the same way we, the student leaders, the comrades, we don't. If most of you are familiar with the news, you remember last year, around April, March, there were a group of students who were arrested at Chester House, Nairobi. We were amongst this group. What happened is this new funding model, it was like, it was an idea of someone and they wanted to put it in practice. We raised some questions, one of them being the criteria or the tool the government was going to use to know the vulnerable, less vulnerable, and all those. Hello, KOT. Your mic is on.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, so when we questioned this, the government was really against the student leaders, and this led some of us being arrested. But we never stopped at that. So this new funding model, even if you check on the recent news, there are students who missed these loans. So it's a model that, number one, maybe the people who sat down to come up with it, even their kids are not studying in Kenya. Number two, this model is not for a country like Kenya. Maybe it can be implemented, but not in Kenya. Maybe in another country where maybe the level of education, maybe in the white countries. So we really oppose this, and I want to call upon the student leaders. QT, you heard what Saruni said, that there are levels of comrades leaders. Kuna wale wenye wamechaguliwa shule within the university. Unapata kama wenye wako Maseno, wenye wako University of Nairobi, TUK, within the university. Kunao. Then we have the national student leaders. Then we have the county reps under the comrades umbrella. Most of these county reps and national student leaders, they do leadership passionately. So I just want to call upon them. Saruni has said that people are still planning. There is no plan. The plan is already out. Is that September, WASU will be going for strike, for demonstration, and comrades will also going for demonstration. This time round, if we combine the forces together, I think we are going to make it. I just want to call upon the student leaders within the universities to cooperate with the national student leaders and the county, because here is the problem. There are certain students who perceive to be side of the government. Aondi wakati yenye tunaanza hii kitu, if you're opposing the new funding model, kidogo wameitwa. They go there because maybe wamejulikana na serikali ama nini, hao ndio wanatafutwa. Wakishaenda pale wanarudi, wananyamazisha wengine. So I just want to call upon the students within the universities. Hii kitu ni kitu mbaya, because ukiangalia hata vile hiyo loan, it's too much. Kama saizi Helb unapata ukimaliza undergraduate degree, the first degree, unapata kama Helb kuna loan around 185 to 200,000. And this one, after 4 years, mtu atamaliza na around 1 million. You can imagine of such a thing. So, as student leaders, national student leaders and county student leaders, September, it's the day to pull down this university funding model. Kama bado kuna kazi na wameleta model yenyewe ni loan kibao, na hata wanasema ati students from vulnerable communities. The other day, if you saw news ilikuwa kwa Citizen, this student from Kisii ametoka kwa familia nyingine yenye hadi ukiona kwa news ajezi, lakini unapata kama bado gava haijampatia hiyo loan, but huku nje gava inasema tumepata the less vulnerable. Just the same way they are saying kazi iko, tumeleta mjengo kwa the housing whatever. So that's what I can say. KOT, September, that is the time. Maybe the date ndio hatujasema ni lini, but we are going on roads and we are going to ensure this new funding model is dropped. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much, generally, for sharing with us. And personally, of course, I haven't graduated. I'll be graduating in December with SAD, so I'm still a bona fide student at the Technical University of Mombasa. So in September, pia mimi, I'll be on the streets if the new funding model is not going to be scrapped off. So personally, I'm against it totally, because I've seen how what people are going through. Yeah, all the way from first year to my last year, I've been using Helb. Yeah, and if I did a diploma and applied for Helb, I'm going to do a bachelor's, go to apply other Helb. So I'll be having a bunch of loan. Now this new funding model, bana, wakiku categorized in a certain category, then for example, those who are being categorized in band, let me say band 1, of course they are receiving a huge allocation, but now they're also receiving huge Helb. So if you are going to receive 60,000 Helb loan in your first year, at the end of your 5-year course, you are having around 300,000 you need to pay, but of course they are accumulating because that's a loan. So this thing is going to totally ruin our lives, even ruin the education. So personally, I also call for all student leaders, all students, and even parents, teachers, lecturers
And
to
KOT,
come out in large numbers so that we can reject this funding model in totality. Yes, General.
KT, I had a request. Maybe next time we are having this, let's mobilize well so that student. Hata siku najua ati kulikuwa na nini talk leo ya Twitter. There are so many students. Around 2 days ago, I had another webinar discussion with other students. So if we can mobilize them, we have this Twitter space. Wakue wengi ndo from here now to mobilize, because najua comrades now wakitokea kama hii Gen Z, almost 80% wa comrades. And remember, comrades were helping even those outside school. Na sasa hii ni yao. Unadhani comrades watatokea aje? So next time we are having this Twitter space, let's mobilize comrades waingie. Yeah, I just wanted to say that.
Yeah, sure. We'll have this Twitter space, the same topic in the first week or the second week of September when students have resumed in the university. So it will be so easy to mobilize in the group. So we'll have such a space again. So Abaya, you had something to say? I think we should have you, Abaya. Then we have Voke as we wind up.
Thank you, KOT. First of all, maybe I should apologize. I shouldn't have interrupted this Wakili Saruni's talk. But it's good to remind ourselves, Wakili Saruni is among the people who had an opportunity to speak in these spaces when the president was being hosted on Twitter. And Wakili, you can remember after the president finished his submission on space, I DM'd you. And I told you the kind of questions you should have asked. The kind of questions you asked during that day were very impertinent. Let me tell you the truth. Maybe I've never had an opportunity to tell you. They are very pertinent questions. You didn't come here and masquerade to us and tell us that you're really concerned of what is going on, and you had an opportunity to ask the president pertinent questions on the education sector. You failed to ask such a question. The reason as to why I follow even KOT is because your school is Finya bana. That is the reason as to why I follow you, man. That is the reason I follow you, KOT. Your school is Finya. You are the only one who asked pertinent questions. The people like Wakili, the people like Osama, you guys were sellouts on that during that day. You asked nothing. You asked impertinent questions, and then you're here pretending that you asked and then you were trying to contribute to us and tell us, oh, should be this and this and this, and then you fail to ask pertinent questions. On my take, I think the reason as to why this university funding model can't even work. I don't want even to say much about it. I've been a student leader. I'm a former student leader of St. Paul's University. I can tell you for a fact this new model can't work. Even the Minister of Education right now is a person whose background is low. He doesn't even understand what is in the education sector. You can even follow his interview when he was being interrogated in Parliament. He doesn't even understand what is going on in the education sector. It is high time, I believe, come in 2027 or immediately after we oust this government, it is high time we give someone an opportunity from the education sector. Because Yogamba is a lawyer. Can you tell me how a lawyer can understand what is going on in the education sector? It's a lie. Let's not lie to ourselves. He doesn't know what is going on in the education sector. We need someone who is a retired teacher, maybe someone who's been working in the education sector to come up and work in the Ministry of Education. But if we take someone anyhow who doesn't even understand what is going on in the education sector, the same problems will repeat themselves going forward. All right? Yeah, it's high time, man. But now we don't have say in this government. They keep on doing their own things. And I want to respond maybe to General Gook, what he has said. You guys in the universities, currently I'm a student at the University of Nairobi, but we don't have to wait until September to show up on the streets. Let us come out. Let us show up solidarity with other Kenyans who are protesting come on 27th. You don't have to wait for September, man. Things are not working. In as much as things are not working in the health sector, things cannot work in the education sector. Let us come out in large numbers, come on 27th. It's very important for us all. Thank you, Kioti.
Okay, thank you so much, Abaya. Um, I'm glad you have also been a student leader. Yeah, I tried to be a student leader in TUM, and the last
So
time I
KAT,
tried, me
so
and CJ,
when is the
just a
time?
minute, just a minute, just a minute, just a minute. We're almost winding up. Personally, I've tried to be a student leader back in TUM, and Sarun, you remember, you came there. Me and CJ, we felt it tough from the university administration, and so I feel like currently even these student leaders are being compromised because they are being imposed on students by the university administration. So let us try and see how we can talk to them. Personally, students from TUM, the student leaders, were even compromised during the finance bill, Nini Reg, and they were paid. They try to calm down the students not coming out in large numbers to fight for what was rightfully ours, rejecting the finance bill. Anyway, that's a story of another day. Let me hear from Voke. Then, generally, I can see you have requested. I'll give you 2 minutes, then we wind up. Voke?
Hey, thanks KOT for giving me this opportunity to speak to people. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sure. Kindly take some 3 minutes, then we wind up. Voke, are you speaking? I can't hear you. Kindly work on your mic, then. Weston, you have something to say? We
Yes,
really need to wind up.
KOT, thank you so much. What I wanted to say, KOT, is that what we're usually taught at the university, and I believe most of the participants on this platform are university students, is that we go with facts, not opinions, not populist pronouncements. I did hear, in as much as it was in a staccato fashion, the lady who was responding to me. But KOT and your audience, I can ask you, how do you roll out universal education without the corresponding infrastructure? Just from a purely logical perspective, you wake up, you say children should go to school, the doors should be opened, and there are no classrooms, no new schools have been built, no new schools have been built at the high school, no new universities have been built. Do people remember that at some point in Kenya, the cut-off grade for admission to the university was put at B or so, and many people were left out? Why? Because there was no infrastructure. Do people remember that there were those, I still go back, schools like Maranda, like Kakamega High School, like Friends School Kamusinga, and many other across the country, which before a parent from the catchment area would go to the headmaster and say, look, my child has passed exams, he's been called to some faraway school, I don't have fees. Can my child come to this school? I'll be paying fees, in installments, I can't afford. And the headmaster say, yeah, your child is passed. You are a parent from the catchment area. If this school cannot serve your child or the parent from this area, of what use is it? Now it's hard. If a parent in the neighborhood of Maranda goes to that school, if their child can't attend a school somewhere because of lack of fees, the headmaster will say, I can't help you. These students come from Nairobi. If a parent were to go to French school Kamusinga from the village, the principal will say, I can't help you. I only get students from Nairobi through the ministry. Whose legacy is that? Kibaki's legacy. So I'm saying scholarship is about the questioning habit. That is the apogee. the apex, the hallmark of scholarship. It's not to regurgitate things because everybody else is saying them. It's to go for cold facts. And facts are very cold. And they're very unpopular. And they're not nice. But they are facts. You can't do anything about them. The destruction of the education sector started then. A noble idea, but poorly executed because it was a knee-jerk idea. Tell me the facts. Since that year, 2002 to date, how many schools from scratch have the successive governments built from scratch? There was no school here. A school has been built. There was no primary school there. It has been built. There was no high school there. It's been built. How many? How many? Teachers were demoralized. You are handling a classroom of 200 kids. Olympic primary school in Kibra symbolized the chaos at that time. Many parents from Kibra took their kids to Olympic. Olympic could not cope. Those whose kids were there were pulled out and taken to academies. And these academies became money minting businesses. People are completely disinterested in education, but they're just there to make money for business. Come on. In which do we occupy an alternative universe? We live in Kenya. We do. Thanks, KOT.
Okay. Thank you so much. Who hasn't spoken? Because I want to wind up this space. We've been here for some hours. Okay. So guys, thank you so much for joining this space today. And of course, I'm planning for such a space probably in the first or second week of September, where we'll also be having students in their first years who would have just joined by then. They will be here, they'll be sharing with us. Today, I felt like we should talk about the new funding model, and you guys have been so informative on this space. You've shared with us. So at this juncture, I want to say goodbye and see you tomorrow at 8 p.m. on Sauti ya Mwananchi. We'll be having a different topic talking about, and just want to let you know that the finance bill is back through the back door. So if you thought that everything is cool and we are quiet, I'm sorry. Everything is going in a very wrong trajectory. So we'll be speaking about that very, very soon here on Sauti ya Mwananchi. Otherwise, bye-bye. Today, I'll not play the national anthem because the other phone is off today. So guys, have a very pleasant night and ensure you are following me and turn on the notifications just in case I do want to talk about something, you'll be informed. So bye-bye.